Hello, friends, and welcome to the Sold Out Show. My name is Space Apples. Here is where I talk about anything and everything. I hope you had a good day or a night so far. Today is January 26th, and today I have a friend with me. Say hi.
Hi.
Um, she is going to be talking about, since last episode, I had a bunch of things that had to do with hair and makeup and stuff. She is a cosmetologist, and she's going to be talking about some of those things with us today. So, what should we start about first?
Well, I'm the hair girl 007, and I've been a hairdresser for almost 30 years. It'll be 30 years this year. Kind of crazy. So I listened to your podcast last week, and you had some questions about specific hair things, makeup things that I thought that maybe I could help you with. So the first thing that you mentioned was boys' eyelashes, and it made me giggle because it's just not fair, and it's really just a genetic thing, I think, and also partly I think it's because guys don't really mess with their eyelashes like girls do. So I really think that that's a big part of why their eyelashes are so nice, but super unfair. So second thing was hair drying. So you're talking about blow drying your hair and the tool that you use to blow dry your hair with, and the different methods you can blow dry hair. And when you blow dry hair, you can use a round brush, you can use vent brushes, depending on the result that you want to get from your hair that day. But then you also mentioned the diffuser. So you said that you don't have time for the diffuser, which I get, but diffuser is really great for enhancing curls on your hair. Um, and the kind of the idea of the diffuser is that you really don't dry your hair 100% when you use the diffuser. Also, you need to just keep a little moisture in there for your hair to want to remain curly without being frizzy. So using a little product before any hairstyling technique is good. If you want to keep it straight, you might want to use something that's an anti-humectant in your hair. And if you want it to be curlier, a lot of times using something that is a humectant to help draw the moisture into your hair and to keep it moisturized.
So, what does that mean? Humantic, I think is what you said.
Humectant is something that it will actually take moisture from the environment and put it into, in this case, your hair. There's a lot of humectants in moisturizers that you can put on your face and body also. But when you want to keep your hair straight and it's maybe a moist day outside, you want to use something that's an anti-humectant that will keep the moisture from absorbing into your hair, thus making it frizzy and curly if your hair happens to be curly, which then also brings me to the next thing that you talked about was hair types. So you were wondering how you figure out what your hair type is. So hair types have actually now there's charts that you can look up online. Um, and so basically, if you have perfectly straight hair, you have what they call 1A hair. And I happen to have printed out a chart here so we can take a look to see what hair type you have. So 1A is straight. It goes 1A, 1B, 1C, still relatively straightish, a little bit wavy. And then we go into 2A, which is starting to have a little more wave to it. 2B, a little bit more wave. A 2C, wavier, like beach waves.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And then we start getting into the threes. So once we get into the threes, the chart is showing us that it's starting to spiral around, but much looser. So 3A is a much looser spiral, 3B a little tighter, 3C. And then we're getting into the fours, which is much more curly to coily. So 4A is quite, tight curls, but goes to 4C, which is what they would consider a tight, coily hair. So anybody can just look this up online to see what hair type that they have. What hair type do you think that you have here?
Like 2A, maybe 2B. What do you think? What do you have?
Well, I was thinking for you 2B, 2C.
Really?
Mine is probably a 2A, 2B. Yeah. So that way it does help for you to decide what products that you can use on your hair to help enhance that, or in some cases when you want to make it straighter or curlier than what you're wearing. So that was the hair drying, hair types. And then you started talking about, we can link to the chart below if you want to take a look at it for the hair type chart that I used. So then next we talked a little bit about makeup. You're wondering why there's a difference in what your skin, looks different in the summer to the winter.
Yes.
We are currently in the middle of winter here in the
Snowing
Adirondacks.
a lot this morning.
It was snowing a lot this morning. It's been a little less cold, but it's still pretty chilly. But the sun has decided to come out yesterday and today, which was amazing. So in the winter, depending on what your activity level outside is, I feel like kind of makes the difference with your skin tone. Um, so summertime in general, I think that you probably would agree, but I spend a little bit more time outside in the summer, which then my skin usually is a little darker, and I usually have to use a little bit darker foundation and palette, concealers, all of that. Yep. So in the winter, usually probably by like November, December, I find that my skin starts losing that little bit of tan that I get and starts to get lighter for the winter. Now, somebody who spends a lot more time, maybe like you mentioned in your last podcast, your friends who like to ski.
Yes.
So if you're out skiing and you're not covering up your face entirely, or forget to wear sunscreen, which you should always be wearing sunscreen year round, because the sun is coming through our windows and our vehicles and our houses, even though it seems like it's not. We're still getting that sun, and you want to protect your skin. About 80% of your skin's aging comes from the sun. Oh. And when you're young, you might not care about those things, but you'll start to care about them later in life. Prevent skin cancers and things like that too. So I mean, depending on how much time you spend out in the sun will determine how much lighter you need to go in the wintertime, or reverse for those people who spend a lot more time outside in the wintertime.
So I have another question. How come there's like different brushes for application? Like, why can't I put on, or not different brushes, but like different orders for makeup application? Like, why can't I put like my concealer and then my foundation, or why do some people just not do that at all?
Those are really good questions. So I feel like like in the past there was like a very strict order of how you put your makeup on, but now I feel like I see people doing all kinds of really cool things with their makeup, and it really just depends on what you want your makeup result to look like. So, in general, depending on how involved you want to get with your makeup for the day, usually you should start with a moisturizer. Yes. Again, like we talked about, something with SPF in it to protect from the sun. SPF of like at least 15, I would say is good. Like,
yeah, I usually in the summer I use like 15 or 20. I just never put it on in the winter. I don't do a lot of skincare in general.
Well, it's a really good idea to make sure that, especially at the end of your day, you wash off all of your makeup.
Yes.
And this time of year, because it's been so cold, our moisture in our skin just gets like robbed from the heat that we have to, keep our houses so nice and warm for us because it's so cold and it gets very dry. So it pulls the moisture out of our skin. So using a moisturizer at night also is a good idea. And in the morning before applying your makeup routine. So moisturizer is always a good place to start with an SPF. And then we have primer. If you're a person who likes to wear primer just helps to kind of fill in all the cracks.
Yes.
It makes it so your skin looks more flawless. And then it's really up to you. Like at that point, then I like to apply my foundation.
Yes.
Some people like, though, to, if they're going to do some like a contour, they might do that before their foundation or after their foundation.
I like to do primer, foundation, and then I do a little bit of contour like on my chin.
Yes, you could do it under your cheekbones even to help
Yes.
make your cheekbones look
Is there like a
higher.
special way to like blend out what is it called, contour, because I cannot find any good way and I'm really aggressive with my brushes whenever I do it because it takes forever to like spread out. Is there like a special way?
You could use brushes. You could use your fingers. You could
Oh.
use blender. One of those little
Beauty
blend.
blender?
Yeah, a little beauty
Yes.
blender. Um, the kind of the it's important to make sure it blends, but then depending on what you're layering on over top of it, if you're applying your foundation over top of that, or if your foundation was going to go under it. Um, so you can play around with that just to see. Starting out maybe with a little bit lighter contour till you get the kind of the um, blending down. And then
Yes.
you can go to a darker contour too if you wanted to do that. So let's see here. So contour, if you want to foundation. Okay, so then your blush. So
Yes.
depending on what you're planning on doing, like whether or not you're going to be putting on powder or not, you have to kind of decide when you want to put on your blush. If you're going to use like a stick or a gel or like a creamy blush, you could put it on now before applying powder to your face. Um, I, I like to use powder blush because I think powder blushes are easier to um, like blend personally, and depending on how dry maybe your skin is or how oily your skin is, um, the blush will be applied that way. There's a lot of really great makeup out there that's not expensive, or you can get very expensive with all of your makeup. So, and then eyes. A lot of times I like to apply eyes over top of your powder. So, and I
Mhm.
also like to put foundation on the eyelids too, like when I am doing
Oh.
an application for someone else. I find that using your primer and using your foundation on your eyelids actually makes your eyeshadow stick better, and it doesn't crease as easily and things like that. So I find that to be helpful. Now, some people use special primers on the eyelids. As if you like to do that, that's fine. You don't really need to do that.
Yeah. I have a primer that you gave me and it goes under my eyes. It works really well, but like one time I tried to put it all over my face and it like doesn't work that well. It only works in like small spots, which I really find that annoying. It's like this moisturizer is specifically for your left elbow and it's $150.
Yes, I do find that the ones that go on like your eyelids are a little thicker than the ones that go on
Yes.
the rest of your face. So, I mean, if you're just trying to get out the door in the morning, you might not want to do all of these
For
things.
sure. For sure, for
But
sure.
as far as order goes, so then you have your eyeshadow if you want to do your eyeshadow. So I've seen some people apply their eyeliner before their eyeshadow, but then I feel like the eyeshadow kind of covers up, especially
Yeah.
top lid eyeliner. So
Yeah. I like to do
my favorite.
eyeliner underneath my eye and then I do eyeshadow and then I do like the wing. I like to do winged eyeliner cuz I don't know, it's pretty.
Yeah, I love winged eyeliner. It is really pretty.
Yes.
And there's so many fun different techniques for winged
Oh, yeah,
eyeliner
yeah, yeah.
and applying with, a felt tip or, liquid eyeliner versus a regular pencil. And there's so many, yeah, cool pencils out there.
Mm.
I love not having to sharpen my eyeliner pencil, and I can't leave the house without eyeliner.
Oh,
So
for
that's one
sure.
of my.
Did that one time before school and I looked in the mirror like at 4th or 5th period and I was like, "Why do I not like my makeup does not feel complete?" And then I was like, "Oh, right, cuz you like your eyeliner's not on." I'm just so used to myself with it on and rather off.
Didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Um, so I don't know if I'm answering your question well enough about the order, but then usually I would apply lips after applying powder to my face because I'm kind of klutzy and I end up with powder on my lips. So if I wait and I just apply my lips last, that works for me. Also because I don't, um, I don't do um, contour,
Yes.
because I just don't take the time in the morning.
Oh,
I
yeah.
sometimes will use like a little bit of blush or a little bit of like bronzer or something in the areas that I want to. So that's like the purpose of your contour actually is to make something look smaller.
Yes.
And then the purpose of your highlighters is to make something look bigger. So that's why you put contour under your cheekbones and highlighter on top of your cheekbones, because it makes your cheekbones pop and makes it, look bigger.
So I have a question. What's the difference between bronzer and contour? Like dark bronzer and dark contour.
Well, bronzer is more designed to look like the sun has, like a little more of like a natural tan
kind of thing.
Yeah, more
Ah.
so than the contour. And there's different kinds of
Okay.
contour too, just like
Oh,
there's
yeah.
different kinds of blush, and there's gel and there's cream and there's powder and stuff like that. So again, all of this is dependent on the the product that you're using.
Yes.
So that's kind of a a basic makeup application for someone. And then the next thing you were talking about is fishtail braids.
Oh,
So
yeah. Those look so hard to do.
So it was actually kind of funny when I was listening to your to your explanation that yes, you split the hair into two and then you take the outer edge. So I actually brought a mannequin with me so I could show you today how to actually do a fishtail braid and try to explain to you cool. And be able to explain to you as I go, so people that are listening hopefully learn from this. So if you start your fishtail from when you're just starting to learn how to do this, I would start with the hair in a ponytail. Sure. Much easier. There, you don't have to, but it's going to be easier to practice. So I have the mannequin's hair and a ponytail on the back of her head, and then I'm going to split the ponytail into two. So I have a right and a left hand side. So the best description of doing this
without a camera
was I'm going to take a little piece of hair on the outer edge from, it doesn't matter which side, but I'm starting with my right hand side, and I'm going to bring it over to the center of the left hand side. And I'm going to take a little piece from the left hand side, from the outer edge of the left hand side to the inner part of the right hand side. And so and the smaller the pieces that you take, the more of a fishtail effect it's going to give it. So if you take larger pieces, it's going to end up looking just more like a regular braid. So the tinier pieces, which it can actually, depending on the thickness of the hair and however long it is, can take a while to do. But outer edge from the right side to the inner edge of the left, and then outer edge of the left side to the inner of the right hand side. And so see, you can kind of see here where it's becoming a fishtail braid. Yes. And I think I could be wrong, but it kind of looks like fish bones, which I'm pretty sure that's what it was for. Yeah, but it's really cool. And then there's different things that you can do with the hair after that to style it. And like I said, you don't have to have it in a ponytail to start, but when you're first learning, and I find that it takes so long to do on yourself that having your arms up in the air that long,
oh yeah, that would take forever,
kind of hard. So and then so there we go, we have a fishtail braid. And I think that was all of the cosmetology related questions that you had last week, but do you have any other questions that I might be able to help you with?
I kind of sorry about that. I have questions about what would be like good places to find your shade for like foundations and concealers and like stuff like that.
Ooh, those are really good questions. It's really difficult when you go into a drugstore and everything's in packages. And I mean, if you're going to do it that way, just trying to put it maybe to the inside of your wrist, just because that's, I don't know, that's, I guess what they say is the closest to like what maybe your jawline color is going to look like. A lot of places will let you return makeup, which is kind of nice. We used to have a Rite Aid, and our Rite Aid used to let us do that, which I loved because I literally would go out to the car after buying it, try it. If it didn't like the color, I could bring it back and get something else. Ulta, though, is a really great place to go because
do they do returns? Do they do returns?
They do returns. Oh. And I don't know for how long.
I thought it was like 30 days or something.
60, 90 days. Yeah, something. I'd have to look that up. But I've definitely have returned stuff. But also Ulta also is one of my favorite stores because they have a range of prices. So they
They
have
do.
NYX products, which are pretty reasonably priced, but really great products, to any other thing that you can imagine
For sure.
there. So I use a mix of makeup from all different places myself. And but I do like that. So for their skincare too, if you want to try something out and you're kind of nervous about buying something expensive, you can take it back if you need to. So yeah.
Perfect. That was most of my questions. Trying to think if I can think of any more. That's a what a sentence. Um, I can't. But if you have any questions, please let us know below because I'll try to answer them. That's all for today. I hope you have a great week. Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you didn't. Just remember you are special. I love you, and see you next week. Adios.